Inbound marketing. Marketing has changed, especially in the last few years due to COVID, but even before that, things were changing. For years, we were used to outbound marketing, where information was pushed to us. And while outbound marketing still has its place, we want to explain how inbound marketing works and the benefits. Inbound marketing is a methodology that helps us to convert visitors to buyers and buyers to ambassadors. And with the help of technical platforms, we present quality content tailored to the needs of our target audiences. So to the right people at the right time. And of course, we don't want intrusive sales activities. We want content that is beneficial for us. We want content that helps us to live better and work better. When we search for information, what do we normally do? Well, we Google, of course, and that's why it's so important that we are findable by search engines so that the search engine optimization, or our SEO, is well done. And this is usually a joke that the best place to hide a body is on page 2 of Google. Why? Because nobody is looking for anything past page 1 of Google. And although that's not necessarily true, it is true that most people will not go to the second page of Google. And that's why we need to make sure that we are on the first page. And of course, you probably know about Generation X and Generation Y, the millennials, but we also need to talk about and understand that we are all Generation C, generation connected. It's not an age group, it's more of a digital lifestyle. And you probably have your smartphone beside you right now. That means that we're always connected. And it also means that as a business owner, we need to make sure that we know how to communicate with people who are always connected. Some things have changed in recent years. 65% of 25 to 49-year-olds speak to their voice-enabled devices at least once per day. That means that we need to also adjust how we create content for voice-enabled search. So, for example, we create questions and answers. Here we see a lovely Italian grandma that has just received her first Google Home, and she's very surprised by all that it can do. And you can view this on YouTube if you wish. It's quite funny. But this is something that is here to stay, and you don't have to necessarily have Alexa or Google Home or any other of those devices. You can also use your smartphone, of course. And then there's video. And in recent years, we've all got very used to using video, but we want to tell you about two different types of video. One of them is live streaming, which of course has benefits, especially in engagement, because we can communicate with our target audience quickly and in real time. But there are also benefits of recorded video, because recorded video means that the target audience can watch it whenever they want to, whenever they have time, and whenever it's best for them. Chatbots are a new way of communication that is really beneficial for marketing, for sales, and for customer support. And that's why we have a separate module on chatbots. So have a look at that. But just to mention here, as one of the new ways of communication, there are programs that automate certain tasks while chatting with the user. Of course, it looks like a chat with a real person, but we need to be very clear when we're using chatbots and when we're offering live chat support. And then there's artificial intelligence, AI. We shouldn't really be afraid of it. We should understand how it can help us be more effective, especially repetitive and routine tasks, which will be gradually replaced by AI. Kai-Fu Lee, the author and the TED Talk speaker, How AI Can Save Our Humanity, you can have a look at his TED Talk, says that those jobs, the repetitive jobs, will be gradually replaced in the next 5 to 15 years by AI. And of course, remote selling, which is also enabled by video. In the last few years, there are changes in how we do business and also how we work. Many companies are and will stay on the hybrid mode of working. But video enables remote selling, which is something that gives us additional information like statistics and analytics. And using video and different kinds of marketing automation will enable us to be more effective in marketing and in sales. So let's talk about inbound marketing. So there is a joke that at the beginning, who led the digital transformation of your company? Was it the CEO, the CTO, or COVID-19? It's probably not even a joke in some companies because for many, COVID-19 really expedited the digitalization of the business. And of course, this is something that influences the way we work and the way we do business also in the future. To explain a little bit the difference between inbound marketing and outbound marketing, let's start with outbound marketing. So this is the traditional method that distribute and push a message. And you can think of TV ads or radio ads or print ads or even direct mail. On the other hand, we have inbound marketing where we pull customers by sharing relevant information and creating useful content. And that doesn't mean that we don't use outbound tactics anymore. For example, Facebook ads is a form of outbound marketing, but we still use it to get noticed, to get our content, to create inbound marketing. With outbound marketing, of course, we often get faster results because we're investing in ads, and we want to combine both of those. Inbound marketing also creates 3 times more leads than traditional outbound marketing, which I think is also quite important. When we talk about pulling users in, how do we do that? We want to create useful and interesting content, and that really has to be from their perspective, not from our perspective as a business. We really need to do a lot of research to understand our potential buyers, and we want to help them solve problems. And also, we want to share relevant information. So the content is not necessarily produced by us, it can also be shared. So we can be in the role of a curator that picks relevant content that is relevant for the target audience and then share it in the platforms where it can meet the target audience. Let's explain the inbound marketing methodology. This is HubSpot's way of presenting how inbound marketing works. HubSpot is a company that coined the term inbound marketing. You can see in the center, there's growth. Because to grow, we need to deliver a remarkable customer experience. And we want to connect marketing, sales, and customer support. You can see it's in the form of a flywheel. And what makes a flywheel move depends on 3 different things. It depends on how fast you spin it. That depends on how much friction there is, and also how big the flywheel is. And of course, we want to add force to areas that give the biggest impact. And we want to decrease the friction between our departments so that everyone is using the same data. This may not be a problem in a smaller company, but in a bigger company, usually it creates a little bit of friction. So the most successful companies will adjust their business strategies to address all the 3 different elements of the flywheel and how the flywheel moves. Let's talk about the tools that you use for inbound marketing. You will notice that a lot of these tools are really well known and you're probably already using them. In the attract phase, we want to create videos, ads, we want to blog, do a lot of social media and content strategy. The engage tools are lead flows, email marketing, lead management, conversation bots that we've already mentioned, and also marketing automation, which helps us to be more effective. And also, of course, helps the users to get the right information at the right time. And then the delight tools, especially smart content. So that means that it's adjusted based on different information that we have on the target audience, email marketing, conversation inbox, so that we have all the conversations in one place, attribution reporting, and again, marketing automation. 70% of research happens online before a potential buyer contacts the company. So I think it's very important to understand that a lot of research happens online before any potential buyer contacts a company. And usually, especially for big ticket items, the way that we buy things has definitely changed. We research well in advance, and sometimes the consumer, the buyer, knows more about a product than the seller in a store. So when we reverse this, and when you think about your business, what kind of content will a potential customer find about your products and your services when they search independently? So would they understand how they can benefit from your products and services? Will they understand the terminology that you're using? Would they see the benefits in comparison to the competition? And especially when you think about that, maybe your sales representatives won't have the opportunity to explain those. And do they actually find information that they need to find or that you would like them to find? Of course, the buyer personas are the core of understanding what they actually need. So we want to understand what our typical buyer persona needs. We want to understand how it changes in the buyer's journey, because it's not the same at the beginning of their journey in the awareness phase through to the consideration phase, and then finally in the last decision phase. It changes during all of those three phases. So who is your buyer persona? This is an idealized representation of your customer, and we want insights into his motives, into his goals, into his behavior, and also into his pain points. It's really important to understand what their pain points are, because based on pain points is, of course, our solution to those pain points. It gives us credible, relevant content that we can promote and communicate with the potential buyer. So let's create a persona. Here's an example of how you can create a persona, and you need to understand that the questions might not be relevant to everyone, because if we compare even B2C, business to consumer, and B2B, business to business, the budget that's really relevant in business to business is not so relevant for the consumer, because the budget in terms of the consumer means how much they earn as a family or a specific person. So everything that you see here might not be totally relevant to you, but it's a tool that will help you to start thinking about and creating a persona. So let's look at the needs in the buyer's journey. So the buyer's journey, very simplified, is three phases: awareness, consideration, and decision. In the awareness phase, they're not necessarily looking for a specific brand as much as they are trying to understand the symptoms of a potential problem or opportunity. And we want to educate them as much as possible in this phase. In the consideration phase, they already have identified what the problem is and they're looking for different solutions. In the decision phase, they've already defined what the solution is and they're looking for the right vendor or the right strategy. And usually companies have a lot of content for the decision phase. They have a lot of, charts and graphs and descriptions of products and things like that. But what we often see, and especially in smaller companies, is the lack of information in the awareness phase. This is where we need to educate the consumer, because they're focused too much on the decision phase and maybe also on the consideration phase, but especially there's not enough content for the awareness phase. The information that we need to give them is to educate them and to build long-term trust. And here are some examples of content. This one, for example, is of a guide of a pillar page. This is a really in-depth page on the website that covers one specific topic. Then we have webinars, which are quite common, and you need to understand that webinars can be really good long-term content if the topic of the webinar is something that doesn't change too much. So it might be relevant for several years. And usually we try not to only record the webinar, but also to write a recap so that we have both forms in video and also the text in the form of an article that covers what is said in the specific webinar. Then we have ebooks. Ebooks are really popular in inbound marketing because the inbound marketing works with the email that the consumer or potential customer gives you. So you need to provide value, something in exchange for that email, either a sign up for a webinar, or it can maybe be a forum where you sign up for an ebook or anything similar. It can also be templates, like you see here, something that you can download that they can use that's beneficial for them as a potential consumer. That's why it's so important to understand who the consumers are, who the personas are, what they actually want and need to be able to create relevant content for them. And then there are blogs. But some companies make the mistake of using their blogs for promotional activities. And we want to use blogs, especially for education, for awareness, and for informing our target audiences or personas how they can benefit not only from our products, but also from the information that we provide to them, because we want to be thought of as a leader in a specific industry that we are serving. Inbound marketing, of course, forms connections in the long term. So we want to find where our connections are, where our personas are, what they're looking for, and we want to help them solve the problems that they have. As marketers, we have to be really familiar with all the different tools that can help us achieve our goals in marketing. This may be a little bit daunting. This is MarTech Supergraphics, marketing technology. As you can see, if we just focus on Europe, we have so many different tools and logos and companies. What we really need to do is actively monitor the relevant marketing technology tools, to test them out, to see whether they would be beneficial for our company and our business. Thank you, and have a look at some of our other modules.